Hi, I'm Stephanie Scheetz with The Digital Story. Now, I've been doing art a long time. However, there are still some techniques that I just don't feel comfortable doing. One of them is painting. I can paint abstractly, but when it comes to doing realistic painting, I just can't do it. But there is a way, however, of actually doing a realistic painting without even picking up a brush. And joining me today is an amazing artist, Tim Mancusi, who's going to be sharing with us the technique of painting without a brush. Hi, Tim. How are you doing?
Good, Stephanie. How are you?
Wonderful. So what are you going to be sharing with us today?
I'm going to be showing you a technique called stencil art. It's using an X-Acto knife to cut away images, areas from the photograph to make a stencil that you spray through and get this final image.
Beautiful, and it looks very real, but you didn't even use a paintbrush for this, huh?
No, I didn't.
Wonderful. Well, I'm very excited to learn this technique. So how about you give us a few moments, and we're going to set up and join you in a moment. Stencil. So how about, Tim, you show us a few of the basic steps.
I'll be glad to. The first thing you start with is a very nice image printed out on your inkjet. It's preferable that you use somewhat thick cardstock because you're going to be cutting through this with an X-Acto or craft knife.
So you're pulling out some of the detailing in the photo itself? That's
Yes.
important then, huh?
Yes, absolutely.
Wow. And you use just a regular craft knife
Just
for that?
a craft knife, and you just have to look at your image and decide what are the key areas you want to begin with.
And so what do you do after this photo is cut out? You make the stencil.
Well, at that point, you set up an area to begin spraying.
And you just use regular spray paint for that?
Absolutely.
That sounds exciting. Well, how about you show us a little bit more about that?
I'll be glad to.
Wonderful.
Now, the first thing you want to make sure you've got a cutting mat in place, and then you can begin your cutting. I start with the eyes because if you don't get the eyes correctly, everything else you cut afterwards is irrelevant. So I'm going to begin cutting. I'm starting with his eyelash. Cutting around here. I'm getting the individual lashes. You'll find that sometimes you've got to poke through and push away the parts. With the tip of the blade. I flip it back and forth to look for, make sure I've got my cuts all the way through. And it goes kind of quickly, as you can see. Then I'm going to move on to the pupil. There's really no correct order within how you cut out the eyes. It's just that it's nice to get the eyes done first. And you want to brush this stuff away. So I'm moving on to other areas of the eye. And checking it as I go along. Get a little bit of the eyelid. Basically, that's all there is to it.
Well, I'm looking at your completed stencil, Tim, and I'm curious. You have a lot more detailing going on in the hair and the facial expression and so on. Is there an order after you do the eyes?
Yes, there is. As I said before, I start with the eyes, make sure I've got that. To me, the mouth is the next importance,
Okay.
then the nose, then the hair, and finally any other detail you want to include. You'll notice that here it's actually cut off, and I kind of just extended it. You have to be careful to make sure you don't cut out too big an area.
Really?
Because you do need the support of the uncut areas to hold it all together.
That's fascinating. You know, if I were cutting out the stencil, I would have started at the top of the head and worked my way down.
You know, if you get really good at it, you might be able to do it that way. But like I said, I feel comfortable once I've got the eyes down that I can go through after that.
Well, this looks so adorable. I can't wait to see how it looks after it's painted.
Me
So
too.
how about we do that next?
Okay.
Well, Tim went outside and did a little spraying, and he came back with this. Isn't that amazing? And it's so cool to think that it originally came from this photograph. I love it. So, Tim, can you share a little bit on what happened outside to create
Sure.
this?
First thing I did was take a repositionable spray, give it a slight little mist, and then I laid it down on my piece of paper and tapped it a few times in certain areas with my finger and began spraying. I started a little bit further out, came in, checked the coverage, and made sure it didn't pool anywhere.
Wonderful. Now, if people don't have a repositionable spray adhesive, is there another alternative?
Yes, there's this repositionable tape. You have to tape it in certain areas. It's maybe not as effective as the adhesive, but it still will give you an interesting effect.
That's wonderful. Well, now that you've created this stencil and you did it on a paper that can be reused over and over again, that was important, wasn't it?
Absolutely. You can make t-shirts out of this, cards. You can actually go into home decor if you want to, and not only with this image, but any other images you might have in your on your computer.
That's amazing. And that's what's really cool about this project is you can totally customize it using your own photos, which is very important. Home decor is hot right now. You can always get stencils, but hey, why don't you do it with your child's portrait?
Exactly.
I love it. Well, those are some wonderful ideas. Thank you for sharing them with us.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Well, I had a wonderful time learning about stencils, and actually I have a little secret to share with you. I have known Tim probably close to 20 years now, and he actually did a photo stencil of me 16 years ago.
Years ago.
And here it is. It's kind of true to form still. And so I really, really appreciate this, and that's why I wanted to share this with the viewers. Well, I want to thank Tim Mancusi for joining me today. I know he's a very busy person. And again, Tim, thank you for doing a portrait of me some 16 years ago. I appreciate it. Thank you very much.
Glad you enjoyed it and look forward to seeing some of your stencil art.
Thank you. I'll share them with you later.
Okay.